Oh, look, it's another loser Democrat trying to rewrite history when the tables turn on them.
I don't think anybody in this debate can name me a high-ranking elected Democrat who has called Donald Trump Hitler. I don't think anybody can.
Gosh, Harry Sisson, I think maybe you got brain damage from when President Trump dropped a plane load of shit on your head. Maybe that's what's causing the brain damage. Plus, you forget the internet is actually forever.
That is a playbook out of Hitler, and I won't deny it.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
They understand that we have a Timo Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States.
Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Oh, we will get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to just a reminder for you guys how bad the public education system is, how bad the higher education system is. Because if you haven't quite figured it out yet, universities all across America have become a really dangerous indoctrination tool. And we see how they're pushing all of these radical ideologies. We see how they're pushing these gender bender ideologies. We see how they're pushing communism. But what you may not know is that they are also recruiting people into terrorist groups like Antifa. You believe that? Let me give you an example. Stacey Patton. She teaches at Howard University in Washington, D.C. By the way, this is an HBCU for those of you keeping track at home. She teaches media, journalism, film, and communication, and also teaches at a lesser-known school, Morgan State University in Baltimore. And that woman, you see the PhD next to her name as if that means anything anymore. In fact, usually these days, PhD is just a signal that you're crazy. So this woman is advocating for white political allies to emulate vigilante mass murderer. This is a headline from Fox News. Now, she points to militant John Brown in a recent blog post about allyship. So in this post, she glorifies John Brown. She says, so when white allies ask, what can I do? Here's the answer. Be like John Brown. Ask yourself, what am I willing to burn so somebody else can breathe? Now, you may be wondering, who is John Brown? Let me tell you, this is John Brown. John Brown was a militant slave abolitionist during the pre-Civil War, and in 1856, he orchestrated the Potawatomi Massacre. Say that 5 times fast. He and fellow abolitionists dragged 5 Kansas settlers, at least 3 of whom were pro-slavery sympathizers, out of their homes and executed them. Now, overall, he killed at least 10 people directly and was responsible for the deaths of several others in these violent raids. And later, he was tried for treason and eventually hanged. So this is the guy that this woman is glorifying. And by the way, he didn't sacrifice himself. He slaughtered innocent men to ignite a race war. This is the guy that a college professor is calling for modern white progressives to take up his torch. Now, what's even more disturbing when you look into the context, because context is important after all, when you look into the context of what John Brown actually stands for today, because what it started as was a leftist gun rights group. They were based in Kansas. This was like back in 2002. That group spun off into spin-off groups like Puget Sound near Seattle. But now it's just used as a collective group name for Antifa. How do we know this? Well, there have been flyers popping up in campuses all across the country telling people to join the John Brown Club, like this one that you're looking at. Yes, it's a familiar slogan, "Hey fascist, catch," which was written on one of the bullets that the Charlie Kirk assassin had loaded into his weapon. This says also lower on there, those of you who are listening on audio podcast, the bulletin says, hey, fascists, catch, the only political group that celebrates when Nazis die. The QR code will take you to the John Brown Gun Club. Lovely. Lovely. You too can find this at a college campus near you. Make sure that you share the show, please, and help us expose the extremists in academia hiding in plain sight. So we know of other Antifa members who have carried out violence under the banner of the John Brown Gun Club. I go back to this example quite frequently because it is an example. It exemplifies so many different things. The 2019 Antifa member who tried to firebomb the ICE facility in Washington State. Remember, Antifa doesn't exist. Oh, wait, it does, because this guy's firebombing people. That guy was a member of the John Brown Gun Club. I mean, I see them everywhere I go. Here in Dallas, the Antifa Club is the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club. That is what they call themselves. They are the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club. They talk about it all the time. These are the people that I encounter at these protests, including Benjamin Song. That same guy, he is a known Antifa member of the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club, and was also the guy who was on the Texas top 10 most wanted list before he was captured because he allegedly, I have to say for legal reasons, was he just attempted murder because he attacked the ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas on July 4th. So in reality, this woman knows that she is in fact glorifying a man who represents that. A man who represents violence being carried out across the streets in this country. She knows that she has a direct influence over the next generation. She knows that she is, of course, trying to instigate these people into committing crimes. But this is what happened. This is what happens when America lets higher education become an incubator for leftist extremism. These professors are not educating these students anymore. They are there to simply radicalize them. That's it. That's it. And by the way, I would say, imagine if a conservative professor said that their followers should, emulate serial killers or white supremacists or domestic terrorists, people who later committed so many crimes they were tried for treason and hanged. They'd be fired. I would say, imagine if, but I don't think there are any conservative professors left anymore. It's just straight up leftist indoctrination camps who are promoting that people go after whiteness. And by the way, if you go after whiteness, apparently academia applauds it as activism. Now, let's just put a little bow on this, okay? This woman who is teaching the next generation, Stacey Patton, PhD, can't forget it. PhD, can't forget it. Just like Dr. Jill Biden. This is Stacey Patton, PhD. Okay? Let me show you what she said about Charlie Kirk. She says, the truth is that Kirk and his foot soldiers spent years terrorizing educators, trying to silence us with harassment and fear. And now the same violence he unleashed on others has come full circle. But what I find especially jarring is the dissonance in public mourning for a smug white man whose life work was actively hostile to certain groups. The same violence he unleashed on others has come full circle. I'm sorry, excuse me, can you point to the people that Charlie Kirk murdered? But no, to the leftists in academia, violence are words. Words are violence. Actual violence is just if it's violence that they agree with. It doesn't make, don't waste any brain cells trying to make it make sense because it doesn't. But these are the people with PhD behind their names who are teaching your children. She also wrote an op-ed moments after President Trump was nearly assassinated. Is he dead? Why Black people are not grieving the failed assassination of Donald Trump. Yes, you see, why Black people are not grieving the failed assassination of Donald Trump. Is he dead? Well, it's a whole piece about her fantasizing about what would have happened if Donald Trump was killed. You can expect the same epithets as with the Charlie Kirk comments. He's a racist. His killing would have been justified. When are people going to wake up and realize you don't need to be putting your children or putting yourselves in mountains of debt to send your kids to a school to be taught by a PhD who says these kind of things and has more influence over your children because they see them more often than you do? President Trump needs to go after these universities more because this Howard University professor is not an outlier. This is a culture that rewards hate, that glorifies violence, and excuses it when it's done under the banner of social justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I genuinely fear for the next generation of these activists. We showed you in the charts just yesterday. They think that as long as the ends justifies the means, violence is a virtue. Stop sending your children to these indoctrination camps, please, for the love of God. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube as well. Thank you. Hit the like button. Smash that like button. Or you can gently tap it. We all appreciate a gentle tapping from time to time. And it'll help us in the algorithm. Comment as well. I know you guys who are watching the live premiere are commenting. And hi, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you also hit the like button. And make sure you also go over and comment on the native video. It'll help us. All right, I want to bring in our panel. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, this segment, Select Quote. So this is life insurance. The topic of life insurance is not something that a lot of people want to think about because nobody wants to think about the day that will come when you are no longer with your family. Well, you should be excited to go visit our Lord and Savior in heaven. But I get it. It's awkward to talk about. You don't want to think about it. You push it off and you push it off and you think, well, I've got that coverage with my job. Nothing will ever happen. Well, actually, if you have coverage through your job and you're laid off, you could suddenly have nothing, because that is through your job. So if you haven't looked at your policy in a while, you really need to go check out Select Quote. They have licensed agents that work for you to tailor something that is for your needs. And by the way, if you've got, things that you would say, oh, they'll never accept me. I have high blood pressure. I have heart disease, whatever the case may be. They actually work with some carriers who will work with people who have pre-existing conditions. So just go check them out. I'm telling you guys, the worst thing you could do for your family is leave them in a lurch when you're gone. Okay. Go to selectquote.com/Sara. You can save more than 50% on term life insurance today. Go check them out. Selectquote.com/Sara. Welcome to the show. We've got Matthew Mausden, Blaze TV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, along with Jason Buttrell, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program, and Sara Gonzales, Unfiltered enthusiast. So we love our enthusiasts here at Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. So I'm glad that you guys are here with me today. I want to just kind of go through all of these violent attacks on ICE that are still happening, the threats to their lives. I mean, every day we're opening up the news and there's another, person shot at ICE agent, person rammed their car at ICE agents. And we've also seen people getting more brazen about going online on social media, on TikTok, on these platforms, and just threatening not only these ICE agents, threatening to dox them, threatening to unmask them, but also their families. Like, I don't know what their families have to do with it, but here's one of those examples.
Might get banned for this. ICE agents give me visceral rage, and I think I found a solution for all of them, especially because all you people support the Second Amendment. Take one of these, put them right there with an ICE agent, and then just go bam.
Got another one for you.
Shoot at ICE agents on site. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on site. The way they're pulling up, with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing, it could be anybody. It can be gang members. You have every right to shoot at them. This would be the best self-defense case.
Buddy, go home, okay? And so you see how I mean, it's becoming increasingly alarming. I don't know what the administration plans to do about it. But on top of that, you have the Democrats coming out and basically encouraging this. I don't know how else you can explain this latest announcement that the Democrats have made.
Over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker, where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on.
Master ICE tracker. So everyone can know exactly where ICE is. Gee, I wonder where these people could possibly be getting their ideas from that they need to go out and shoot ICE. Oh, it's just the Democrats in Congress themselves. Jason?
It's classic top-down, bottom-up revolutionary tactics. These revolutionaries on the street, they feel emboldened because they know they have people like that at the top. They're backing them up. And I'm having a trouble, I guess, remembering what's it called when, you work for the government, but you actively are doing things against that government. Treason. That's what it is. Treason.
That's the word.
Yeah, I am I'm not at a loss. I see this escalating a lot further. I see more and more every day, like a South Korea type situation here. I might have talked about this in the show before, but pretty much that's what happened in South Korea. They pushed and pushed and pushed, the far left did, until the president said, screw it, I'm declaring martial law, locking down the Capitol before, things get too crazy here and they really do start killing people. And that's all they needed. Instantly, the street movement that they had, which they are building right now through like No Kings, those people, this is very, very coordinated. So I would expect that they're pushing towards an overreaction at some point. And what happened over the weekend, the No King stuff, absolutely a color revolution. You have the individual people that are, debating on webinars what color to make this movement. They're talking about a color revolution. They're like talking with people like Erica Chenoweth from Harvard that said, well, look, all we need is 3.5% of the population. They've studied color revolutions in the past. They know exactly what they need. They need a small minority of people. And in every single one of them, when governments have toppled, all they need is 3.5% of the population. And I see them pushing and pushing more towards that. This is all, I feel like we feel way too comfortable at the moment because, you saw the electoral map. We dominated. They clearly don't have the country. Well, they're backed into a corner right now, and you're seeing that right now. They're acting like animals that have backed into a corner. And look, we're still in year one, right? One.
Yeah. Oh, that's really depressing. Thanks a lot, Jason.
There you go.
Well, this is Jason Buttrell's last time on the show.
Well, no, listen, I completely agree. And I've been saying it for quite some time that I actually do believe that there needs to be an authoritarian figure to come in to crush these Marxists, because that's what it is. And I think that what you've seen is a bunch of people, as you said, Jason, this has been there for forever. This is not new. These groups have just been very, very well funded. And when Elon came in with Doge, they cut off the funding. And now what Trump is doing is he's going after people both legally and, financially. He's going in and trying to rout these people out. And as you said, Jason, they're getting very desperate because they know that this is the end for them. And they're like feral animals and they are going to kill people. And for some reason, they've decided ICE is the focal point. It's not the end point, but right now it's the focal point for them, because what they've said is, look, we're going to take illegal immigration and we're going to take these guys because now they're masked. As I've said on this show many, many, many times, the reason why they are masked, and I was actually speaking to an ICE agent this morning. Now, I just want to say that this is a guy who left the government and believed so much in what Trump is doing. He's gone back. And by the way, these guys are real patriots. They're bleeding money because many of them have to be in two separate places, right? They have to live in one place and have to go and work somewhere else. So they're bleeding money and they're doing it for the country. And I spoke to him this morning, and he's the guy that told me, he goes, listen, we're getting guys with, we're getting death threats every day, like really serious death threats. The cartels as well. We got to understand where all this is coming from. It's Marxists and the cartels that are coming in and they're funding this. And as you said, Jason, we are way, way, way too comfortable. And I think we should do something like the Philippines. I hate to say it. The Philippines, for a little while, they were like, listen, these Marxists are out of control. We've got to deal with it. And they did, and they took an authoritarian position. I know Americans don't like to hear this, but I don't see any other way of doing it because people are going to be dying very soon.
Are going to be very soon?
Oh, they are already, but I mean, it's going to get worse, right? I mean, as you said, it's going to pick up momentum. I mean, listen, why don't we defund all these colleges? That's the first thing we should be doing.
I was just about to say that. What I was just talking about was, this Howard University professor who is encouraging people to essentially join Antifa. There she is, Stacey Patton, PhD. Don't forget the PhD. That's so important. You can be a PhD and go in there and tell people, tell these young, impressionable college students that you too can be a part of Antifa. And by the way, let's glorify John Brown was basically her. I mean, which leads all of these students directly to Antifa, where they are committing all of this violence. So that was my point at the end of the segment, was just like, what is our plan for ridding our universities of all of that? What is the plan?
You got to defund it. Firstly, it's the money, and then but it can't be like, oh well, they've done this, they've fired that person. People have got to go in. They've got to be fired systematically all the way through. I don't care. Look, I don't care about these colleges anyway. They've got billions and billions of dollars, some of them, in endowments. Let them live off that.
Right.
We've got to stop this. It has to end. But here's the problem, Sarah, is we've been asleep at the wheel. We've been saying this about Texas for the longest time. Everyone's like, don't California my Texas. There've been Texas in Texas for the past 10 years, and everyone's been asleep. So what we need to do is we've got to get rid of the indoctrination in the schools. And I'm afraid you are going to get rioting in the streets when you do that. It's going to happen. But to reset, we've gone so far, and these corrupt politicians have been fine with it and been taking the coin for 20, 30, 40 years while America's been going down the toilet. We're never going to get another opportunity like this. And here's the other thing, Jason. You kind of alluded to it. What happens if the Democrats ever get in? Mm-hmm. What do you think is going to happen to us when the Democrats are ever going to get in? Do you think they're going to be as kind as we are? Do you think they're going to be as understanding as we are? This is really, really serious, and we've seen it all over the world. It's not just here. You've seen it in the UK. You've seen it in Europe. This is we've kind of like lulled ourselves into a false sense of security that communism isn't a problem, and it's a massive problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you don't even have to imagine what Democrats would do if they ever get into power again. You don't have to imagine it. You have the roadmap that just happened for the last 4 years before President Trump got into office, and we're still uncovering more of that with Operation Arctic Frost that we're learning more and more about. Just yesterday, we heard about how Senator Ted Cruz had his phone records given to Jack Smith, and all of these different senators and congressmen and people they were spied on by the federal government. You had the Biden administration going after pro-life protesters. We've seen. We don't have to imagine. We don't have to think about what they might do. We've already seen it. We've already seen it. And by the way, they never thought that any of those actions would see the light of day. Remember, they were doing it in the shadows. So of course we should expect that they are going to do all of that and more the next time they get into power, because for them, the ends justifies the means. It always has, and it always will. I hope that we can come up with some sort of if there were ever an administration to do it, I feel like this is the one. This is the one. You've got them understanding we've got to do things a different way. We need to approach things differently, from messaging to policy to all of that. Okay, guys, what is the answer to rooting this shit out? Because we can't just keep going like this.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't even think that they have, it may appear authoritarian, to your point, I think because just enforcing the law will appear authoritarian.
That's what they're going to say. That's what I'm saying. That's what they're going to say. They're going to call it authoritarian.
Well, they already are. I mean, that's what they said for No King's Day. Apparently, deporting illegal criminals is now tyrannical.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I do think that they need to push the bounds of reaction at this point. I think that there's some things that they can do, but it's still within the bounds of the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Like, just start declaring the Insurrection Act in as many places as you can think of. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know this, and Democrats surely won't say this, but there's only one stipulation within the Insurrection Act that requires a governor's approval. There's two other circumstances that do not require. They can be completely unilateral. Just start doing it. Mm-hmm. You're going to run into like some kind of judge, you're going to, but argue that. Right. Push it for as many places as you can, and defunding not only universities, but like let's say that the ICE tracker. If there's any city or state that actually complies with that, completely cut them off from government funds. Yep. Just do it. Yep. And again, you're going to get challenged in court, but let them try. Right. But you have to show them there are consequences for this bullcrap. Yeah. And that's Insurrection Act, that's defunding. Push it to as many cities as you can that comply with it. Just do it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We've got a lot more to get to, but I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Preborn. So I love Preborn. Preborn is on a mission to save as many babies as possible. And it's very, very simple what they do. Instead of a woman who has an unplanned pregnancy walking into a Planned Parenthood, which isn't it crazy that Planned Parenthood, the name is Planned Parenthood, but they will help you eliminate the baby? That's not really parenthood. And if you want to call it that, that's the shittiest parenthood I've ever heard of. So what Preborn is doing, instead of lying to these women and saying, it's fine, it's just a clump of cells, just abort it, you'll never regret it. Preborn has a network of clinics that is just showing these women the truth. This is your baby on ultrasound. This is the baby's heartbeat. And in that moment, the woman is twice as likely to choose life. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. So I am asking you guys, especially as we get towards the end of the year where you're looking for all of these tax-deductible donations to make, I cannot think of a better organization to make that donation, tax-deductible donation, than Preborn. So how many babies' lives can you save? $28 saves one. Do you want to save one? Do you want to save two? Do you want to save five? However many you can save, let's save the babies together. You can go to preborn.com/Sara. Donate securely over at preborn.com/Sara. Jason mentioned Democrats being backed into the corner. I can't think of a better example than Democrat shill Harry Sisson, who was on Piers Morgan's show. He thought that he was like, oh, I got a point. No, he didn't have a point.
I don't think anybody in this debate can name me a high-ranking elected Democrat who has called Donald Trump Hitler. I don't think anybody can.
I'd be happy to answer the question about whether or not a high-ranking Democrat has used this rhetoric. Who is Kamala Harris?
I know. I want you to answer all the questions. I want you to answer all the questions
for you. Who is Kamala Harris?
Wait. Answer all the questions I just gave you. And can you name me when Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump is Hitler? When did Kamala Harris? Great.
Was Kamala Harris last year a high-ranking Democrat when she was?
When did Kamala Harris call Donald Trump Hitler?
October of 2024. Kamala Harris said on the campaign trail, Donald Trump vowed to be a dictator on day one. His former chief of staff said he wanted generals like Hitler's. Donald Trump openly admires dictators, including Adolf Hitler. Last October, that was said on the campaign trail from the Democrat.
Kamala Harris said this during the campaign, during the closing days of the campaign. It was her final campaign pitch. Is that high enough ranking for you? You guys supported her for president.
Let me offer one here, which is Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton literally compared Trump's rally in Ohio last week to Nazi leader Adolf Hitler's speeches. Speaking of the Texas Tribune Festival in Austin, she made reference to Hitler's speeches and saw people raise their right arms in the air in the Nazi salute. I remember as a young student, trying to figure out how people basically got bought in by Hitler, she said. How did that happen? I'd watch newsreels and I'd see this guy standing there ranting and raving and so on. It happens all the time.
What a loser. What a loser. Play his faces, please. Play his what an absolute loser. What, like, is he okay? Is he having a stroke? He can't handle people just answering his question. How disrespectful and condescending. He asked a question and it was answered, and the Democrats cannot handle it when we will not allow them to rewrite history.
Well, because very rarely do they ever get any pushback. He will go on MSNBC, he will go on all these other like leftist shill shows, and no one will ever ask him a question like that. And I don't think he expected. I mean, Jack totally brought the receipts, right? Like just absolutely slapped him around.
So did Isabel.
And Isabel did as well. But I mean, we see this all the time. We see it daily. They're always calling us Nazis and white supremacists and just like Hitler. And they never get any pushback on it, ever. And now people are just like, Piers Morgan as well is like, I know where this is going. And this needs to stop. Because even though he's in the middle, and so, I mean, I'd say he's right in the middle, right? I wouldn't say Piers was a conservative.
No, he's not a conservative, no.
I mean, certainly not on guns. But even he's seeing the way things are going now, and he's like, this is just very, very dangerous. To your point, it's very dangerous.
And that is why I look at the makeup of, you know, what we're talking about right now with all of these crazy, radical, liberals. And I look at people like Piers Morgan and Elon Musk, and I mean, I could name people who historically you would say that they were liberal, but it's really left them with no choice than to say, you are either, these are the two ways now. You are either anti-American and communist, or you're with us.
Yeah.
That's just the choice.
So a couple things. For one, Piers Morgan, I just want to say, completely shocked the hell out of me over the past year or so. Yeah. I thought he was done. I thought he was irrelevant. I thought he was just going to be another one of those typical left-wing, news anchors. But he's some of the best debates come on his show.
Yeah.
And he seems very fair with it. So I'm just completely surprised. My other point, I guess my main point, is that the easier it is, whether you're in a fight, a battle, whatever, debate, whatever, the easier it is, the more weak you become. And we've had, over the past, let's just say decades, of extreme bias on the left. And that goes from Hollywood. That goes for music. That goes for books. That goes for think tanks, academia, everything. And they call the right the fascists and they want to control everything. They control everything. Everything. And they're not pushed back. And they're people that, even the people they want to have show up, like No Kings or whatever, you've probably seen on Twitter, like some of the, some of the just man on the street interviews will have, like, what are you here protesting? They can't answer it.
No
idea. Mm-mm. So you have people like this guy. Like, he can't argue his points.
No.
I think it's kind of cool, at least for the conservative movement, people that we would consider allies, you've had to fight for it in the trenches. Whether you're someone that's going to be on a news show or whatever, or you're just regular person, in your homeowners association, you know exactly what you've had to study. You've had to fight. You know your positions backwards and forwards. I think
I thought of you straight away. When
was the homeowners association?
Yeah. Oh my God, I have stories for you, Jason.
She's got the ultimate Karens in hers. It's amazing.
Worst libtard. I hope you're watching this, Crystal. We're gonna form a coup, and you're gonna be gone, and I'm gonna take over, and you're gonna hate the deregulation that I bring.
She's not watching, by the way. There's no way.
I know.
She's hate watching.
She might be hate watching.
She's hate watching.
What I was thinking. She might be hate watching. So I just wanted to make sure. Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal. I just think I think it bodes very well for us in the future because we all are battle hardened.
Yeah.
We're battle hardened. You can defend your positions because you've had to look them up and you've had to live it. Mm-hmm. They are not. Mm-hmm. They are usually we call these people useful idiots, but that's the entire Democratic Party right now. They're just idiots. They're morons.
Right.
Call them out.
Yep. Which, to your point, even the Democrats now are being forced to call out some of these fellow Democrats because it's just gotten to be too much. You had KJP, who's going on this book tour, and she is trying to memory hole things and gaslight things to an epic degree. And even Stephen Colbert is like, no, not so fast.
I don't think anybody questioned his heart or his policies, but it takes more than that to be the president of the United States. In a moment of great pressure on stage, we saw someone shock us and worry us And nothing could assuage that worry. So I don't think it was necessarily a betrayal of Joe Biden as other people saying, we don't think we were shown the Joe Biden that you saw.
I saw every day a really ugly assault on someone who had 50 plus years of experience and who, again, objectively had done a good job as president of the United States. And it was heartbreaking to see that type of behavior.
I think all of that, everything you're saying, I cannot fault the factual basis of what you're saying or your feelings about it. But what happened was the debate performance. Everything is downstream of that.
And no one is saying that the debate performance wasn't shocking, wasn't a disappointment. No one is saying that.
Disappointment is such a light term.
Even Stephen Colbert was like, honey, I'm not going to let you pretend like we didn't all watch what we watched, because we did. And when you've lost Stephen Colbert, I mean, you're pretty screwed, honestly.
Yeah, Colbert, the perspective he's coming at it from is kind of like the Jake Tapper Original Sin book, which is the original sin was not that, I don't know, that they lost the election or they did so poorly or whatever. The original sin in the book, and they even say that, is that Joe Biden chose to run again. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it all came out was, and they hate that debate performance, because that outed what they already knew.
Right.
So I crack up when you see someone like Colbert now arguing that point. It's almost like they're trying to absolve themselves from being part of the cover-up operation.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. But like, I still love to see it because just them even trying to back away from it and force, someone like Karine Jean-Pierre to actually face tough questions is like, I'm here for it. I'm here because you all look bad. You both look bad now. You all look bad. I'm here for it.
I just wish that she would have turned around and said, well, what about you? You went on and said that he was a good candidate. You shielded for him.
Right.
When is that going to happen? Because when she figures out that they're going to come and eat her, she's going to start pushing back.
Well, to be fair, she's pretty stupid. She might not think of that.
She is very, very stupid.
Really dumb. And really bad at speaking, which I feel like when your job is the White House press secretary, you should be gifted at speaking. Her, not so much.
Well, I mean, what we've got in now is like night and day, right? I mean,
oh my gosh.
Like amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even when you see Colbert, he goes like this, he goes, he's like, it's like, if you watch it back, it's like he's talking to an 8-year-old child.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
But these guys, I hate them anyway. No, I mean, they're just shill. I'm sorry, they're just shills. And the way that they treated us. And again, they would have had him in if they could have got through that debate and he hadn't have had a meltdown. I don't know what he was injected with, what drugs he was on or whatever. Like you said, Sarah, they've known the whole time. He shouldn't have run the first time, let alone a second time. So I have absolutely no sympathy for them. They're all shills.
Well, on the topic of KJP, I always say my theory on how she got her job was that poor man's peppermint patty, Jen Psaki, just didn't want her replacement to make her look bad because she wasn't great either. So she was like, who is the dumbest person I can pick for this job? I know, Karine Jean-Pierre. But Jen Psaki now has, of course, moved on to being the MSNBC darling and doing these podcasts. And she actually, she recently had this to say about, this is a very strange thing to say about J.D. Vance from Jen Psaki.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah. Vice president wants to be president?
What's going on in the mind of his wife.
I'm shocked.
Are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you.
A wife that travels with her husband.
And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Every time.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And ambitious.
Oh, no, not ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him.
Sure,
now,
Jan.
What's also true, though, is J.D. Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right? And he just is a little odd. And
totally.
We're back to J.D. Vance's weird. We're back to J.D. Vance's weird. That's where he's just a little odd, right? He just has no riz. No riz. Can we please see what you want to talk about someone else's husband? Oh, this is Jen Psaki's husband. If we'd like to talk about no riz. Jen, you married a fat lesbian. Okay? So I don't think we need to be going down and talking about other. Blink twice if you're okay. Oh my God, Usha actually likes to spend time. She travels with JD. That's so weird. These people don't even understand normalcy if it smacked them in the face, which clearly it does need to for Jen Psaki. It's bewildering that they still have not figured out that they are so off base. It's ridiculous.
Okay, 2 points. Have you ever seen the way Usha looks at JD?
It's beautiful. You can tell she's so in love with him.
I've called it out to my wife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we still looking at pictures, and I looked at her and I'm like, well, how come you don't look at me that way? I was like getting kind of jealous.
I do, Jason.
Oh, thanks, man.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I got you. We got each other. They're clearly in love.
Yeah.
That was such a ridiculous comment, such a low blow. But they say this every time.
Yes, every
they
time.
said this about Ron DeSantis.
Yep.
Oh, he is so much. Every time someone steps up to the plate, they're going to be worse than the person they're calling Hitler.
They're scarier than Donald Trump. They're scarier. Ooh, they're scary.
Did you see their faces as well? That looked like it was Halloween. That looked like that was just like. Did you say? Can we pull up the faces of those other two women, Stephen? Can I have the power to do that?
No riz. No, I mean, I cannot take seriously an adult who says no riz.
Look at that. That one was on. What's that? Jigsaw. Jigsaw.
That's
the
a
one on the
mask.
right.
That's straight
Jigsaw.
up a mask.
Maybe she's wearing her Halloween costume early.
That's not right.
That's pretty scary.
Anyway, well, if they can do it, we can do it. Look. They're shocked when people have a normal relationship, right? Like JD does. He's a chameleon. No, let me tell you what that is. That is America, that the guy started out in a trailer park with a drug addict mom. See how they try and demean him. Drug addict mom, became a Marine, then went on to Yale Law, then became a senator, and then became the Vice President of the United States. And by the way, normally the vice president, and I kept saying this to people who were like, why are you saying that J.D. Vance is going to be the next president? Because normally when you have an incumbent president and he does a good job, then the vice president normally becomes the president after that. I mean, it's just out.
Oh, wow. Tell me more. This is the first time in the history of the world that a vice president might have presidential aspirations. More breaking news at 9. Like, okay.
I tell you, they are terrified of J.D. Vance, though.
They should be.
Because he is a staunch conservative. He's a more polished version of Donald Trump. He can speak a lot better than Donald Trump. They're scared of that.
Yep.
Did you see the type of character he has? Because America saw it after the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I've never heard of someone at that level, the Vice President of the United States, being a pallbearer and carrying him to the plane. Or the second lady coming down and comforting the wife and holding her hand, crying with them.
Right.
Yeah, they're scared to death of these people, and they should be, because you're going to lose to them pretty soon.
Exactly right. All right, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. But I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, CB Distillery. I love CB Distillery because I know some of you people who are not familiar with CBD, oh my God, does that stuff get you high? No, it doesn't actually. There's no THC in it, okay? Well, maybe there are for some products, but you don't have to pick a product with that. What they can do for you is not drugs, but they do have solutions for sleep. They have solutions for stress. They have solutions for mood and focus. They have solutions for pain, which I love, and it actually works. So I use the ones for sleep. I use the ones for pain. They've got you covered, and they've got the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. So whatever the case may be, whatever you're suffering from, go check them out for a much more natural, plant-powered solution for whatever your ailment is. You can go to cbdistillery.com, use promo code Sara. You can save 25% off your entire purchase over at cbdistillery.com, promo code Sara. So I've talked before about how ugly this Obama Presidential Library and Museum is that's being built in Chicago right now. It's just like the commies are just like, no, everything needs to be horrifying and ugly. You will have absolutely no pleasure from any sort of beautiful architecture. And it was just really nice to hear President Trump's comments when he was asked about this monstrosity that's being built.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've
He needs help.
Have you seen pictures of the architecture? And
yeah, I did. It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. It means building a library / museum. You know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it.
He wanted women and DEI to build it. That's what he got, an ugly-ass building. It's just like, that is so classic President Trump. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, and if you see one of the things, another narrative, right? The new narrative now is like, well, look what he's doing on the East Wing. Look how he's destroying the White House. This is blah, blah. And you're sitting there and you're like, no, what was great was that I saw on X, one of these guys comes up and says, no, that was my office. They're just knocking that down so you can build the extension onto it. And it's going to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's going to be beautiful, possibly the most beautiful room ever.
And it's all come from private donors.
Yeah,
so
who cares?
The American taxpayers are not paying for it, and he's doing something to make the building better. By the way, like every other president has renovated, so shut the up.
Yeah, and one of their heroes, FDR, he was the one that he was the one that added was it the West Wing, East Wing? Can't remember, maybe both. But also put in a private swimming pool at the White House. I can't.
How does that?
I'm sorry. I'm like
running track.
So it's like, but I think because he had polio, so it was like supposedly for his rehab or whatever. But can you imagine today if they're like,
if President Trump did that?
Yeah, like, or anything even close.
How does that help him do his job of president better? Why should he get that? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
And all of that was off taxpayer dollars.
Right.
This is none of that. For that.
And by the way, it's not all him either. It's privately funded by donors.
Yeah.
So
but they hate that he's going to be a permanent fixture at the White House. That's what they hate, that he's doing something that they cannot erase. And it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm just so tired of hearing about this. Oh my God. Like I was on with Will Cain on Fox yesterday, and the Democrat that was on my panel was like, well, I just think that, with all of these things that are going on right now, I mean, the government's shut down and he's just wasting his time on renovations. It's like, buddy. He's not the one that has a hard hat that's actually going in and like hammering stuff and messing with, like he is very, very talented at multitasking. He's over there in the Middle East making peace. He's like, trust me, he's still working. That just goes to show you how talented President Trump actually is and what a hard worker he is. I'd like for you to do the comparison now of Joe Biden on the beach snoring before you come at me with that. That didn't make it to air, though, on Fox. I'm just kidding. I didn't say it. Matthew Marsden, make sure to follow him on X as well as YouTube, Matthew D. Marsden. Jason Buttrell, make sure to follow him as well, and we will see you guys tomorrow.